So what did you guys think of that clip? Alright, so first of all, congratulations on your renewal.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for watching.
Mark, that was Baby Al Ghul.
It was Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
We did it. We did it.
You brought the family together. So, and then you've got Joel Stacy coming in and out. Right? You're getting a little bit of cred there, and we hear that she's playing someone with ties to the comic universe, the DC universe.
I would say she's got kind of ties to Ray.
Oh, what? Oh, okay, all right. And then clearly, I mean, we were expecting and hoping to see some Jonah Hex, but you gave us a lot there.
Oh, yeah, we didn't really hold back in that sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Andrew, our editor, cut that together. He's here today.
Yeah. Something that I did not expect, but it looks like you're going back to Star City, back when a certain someone had a full head of hair.
Me? No. Blackthorn.
Detective Lance.
Yeah, Detective Lance. Detective Lance and pre-Queen's Gambit Sarah Lance.
Yes. With her bangs.
With her bangs. And by the way, Katie is so great in that episode. I love it when she plays pre-Gambit Sarah. It's awesome.
Nice. Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Gambit is the boat, right?
Gambit's the boat.
Gambit's the boat.
Just in case anybody else.
So Mark, when this show was greenlit, when you guys got picked up and we talked back then, this guy, I've never seen someone so excited about getting like a 5th job. You were giddy about the chance to put together a super team and tell this story. Why was that?
No one's done it before. No one's done a superhero ensemble on television. So there was that. There was also 10-year-old boy me, which is really, when I take on something, I really ask him, should I do this? And 10-year-old boy me was like, all these superheroes and supervillains in one show, and then you can go to any corner of the DC universe at any time? Like, of course you gotta do it.
And this is my favorite, because you know how we all have our favorite like villain or that one character that we really latch on to? Your favorite villain was Vandal Savage.
Yeah, I remember, it's really good.
Like, who has Vandal Savage as their favorite villain? When did you find this guy and realize, oh, I want this one?
You know what? There was an issue of Flash, I forget what number, someone in the audience will know it, Volume 1, where the Vandal is punching the Flash and kicking the Green Lantern. And that was like one of the first comic books I owned, and it just made an incredible impression on me.
And then you got to go and not just tell this story, but you got to pick the cast. You got to pick these characters. What was it like putting together your super team?
Well, I'll tell you, someone today, one of the reporters asked me, well, how did you pick everybody? And the truth is, the answer is sort of unexciting, because we basically, this was all our first choice, right here. I mean, like, oh yeah, we knew we wanted, Dominic and Wentworth, and Victor from Flash. We knew we wanted Katie and Brandon. We just didn't expect them to say yes. That was the surprise. And we couldn't be more excited. It's incredible. It really, I mean, literally everyone here, including Sierra and Franz and Arthur, were our first choices. We didn't go to another actor to play Rip Hunter and got passed on and then came to Arthur. Everyone who's on the show is our first choice. That's incredible. That never happens. You never get everything you want in Hollywood.
When you guys are starting to think of that, because you'd already had Katie and Brandon on board in the universe, when you guys were saying oh, we should do a super team, did you think, oh my God, we've got to get Katie and Brandon back?
Yes. I mean, we knew we had built a whole season of Ray becoming the Atom. And we also knew we had the Lazarus pit in the back of our pocket for Katie, so it made total sense. And we were actually even if Legends hadn't gone forward, hopefully Brandon would have said yes to returning to Arrow in season 4, as he did, and we knew that we were going to tell the story of Sarah Lance coming back to life. It just so happened that we were able to make that work with Legends, and Katie and Brandon were terrific, agreeing to participate and join the first half of Arrow season 4, just like, Franz and Sierra were great to come into the first half of Flash season 2 to establish their characters.
And now, you mentioned this is not your average superhero show. You've got a massive cast. You've got this ensemble. You've got wings. you've got, I mean, like that takes up half the room. And then you've also got all of time that you can play with, and you've got very devoted and attentive comic book fans who know this stuff. How has it been? Who is kind of like the one who really like reins all this in and is like, okay, we've done this, we've done this. Who's got the giant map in the room?
You know, it's sort of it's a group effort. You know, we've got a wonderful writer assistant, Gus Beerhart. All of us are, comic book nerds. You know, I, at this point, certainly know every episode of Arrow that we produced. You know, we've got a bunch of people who help us with all the Flash continuity. And we work really, really hard to make it all hang together. And hopefully, please God, hopefully we do.
And now, so you've spent the season with these guys. You guys are starting to work on filming your finale, correct?
Yes.
Which I'm sure is probably going to be just a very quiet, sedate hour. Just a lot of self-reflection.
It's a lot of
you guys just sitting around drinking tea going like, oh, we had such a year. What have you learned from mounting something like this?
I don't know if we have that kind of time to go into it. We learned a lot. I mean, we've learned an awful lot. I think fundamentally we've learned, what can an episode sustain? And that's something I know we went through with Arrow also, like where we try to focus the episodes a little more. You'll start to see this in the back half of the year. I feel like we applied a lot of lessons we learned in the first 8 to the last 8. And you guys can completely disagree with me if you'd like.
No, I mean, I think it's the whole learning process. As you said before, this has never been really attempted or done. How do you tell this big story, involve all the characters and their pasts, and introduce new ones in 16 episodes of 42 minutes apiece? It's daunting. And what we do,
season 2.
Yeah, what we haven't done in season 1, we'll get in season 2.
There you go.
And Brandon and Katie, were you guys prepared for it's a pretty dramatic shift in tone coming from Arrow, where there was Ray got to do a lot of the lighter stuff, but Sarah didn't have an easy time. To coming to this where there's so much just fun and so much running around and excitement. You didn't have to worry about taking 3 arrows to the chest. You didn't have to worry about the angst and all that stuff.
That was actually one of the hardest parts, was adjusting to the difference of tone of the show. And I remember when I got the pilot script and reading Sarah's lines, and she's like, "You want to dance, Leonard?" and all this stuff. I'm like, "Whoa! Like, who is this? Like, this doesn't feel like Sarah at all." And I think because she's kind of gone through so much, and it was like she's died. Like, everything has just been bad. At this point, she's kind of like, all right, be able to have some levity to it. So that kind of allowed her to adjust to being on the show. And I think it's just, she's got a new lightheartedness that is nice to see for her.
I think for Ray, I mean, you're right. I did get to do a lot of that already in Arrow and Flash. So Ray didn't change too much. I think maybe he has even a little bit more fun, allowed to have a little bit more silliness more often. And opportunity actually to go a little bit deeper into the drama, as it were, especially when we get to later into the season. Whereas I didn't do as much of that in Arrow. And I get more involved in the fighting and all that stuff in this than, because we only had a couple episodes of Adam in Arrow before we evolved into Legend of Tomorrow. So.
And in all the places that the team has traveled, are there no dry cleaners? Because for someone named White Canary, her costume is filthy.
It's kind of like a taupe, off-white.
It's like a dirty beige canary.
We're having discussions about it,
We've had conversations about this. We've a lot of conversations, actually.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll be all worked up and get a kind of new outfit next season. You never know.
I guess this is a good time to announce the character who will be joining in season 2, the dry cleaner.
I really thought you were going to say it. I was like, wait, what's going on?
You know me better than that. I would never do that.
Sarah, when you also came from the lightness of Flash, and then a couple episodes in, they go and kill your destined boyfriend. What did you think when you got that script? You're like, oh my god, we just got together again.
Well, I don't know that they were quite together. They were definitely working together. I don't know. I think every kind of twist and turn that's been thrown our way has helped Kendra grow substantially, which is kind of something that she needs. But yeah, it was very different coming from Flash, which is definitely lighter and a bit happier. But I also think that her storyline in general just was pretty dark to start with. It's not like necessarily the happiest one. So even though she was on Flash, I think that her storyline got dark pretty quick. So transitioning over, it was okay.
And now, Mark, everyone knows the history and the destiny of Carter and Kendra. So if we're supposed to believe, like, okay, they're soulmates, blah, 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 but then why do we like her so much with Ray?
Because these two guys are awesome together.
But it's, it's kind of like you're setting this up for eventually, like, someone's gonna get reincarnated and drop back in out of the sky, and Ray's gonna be like, are you kidding me again?
Ray. I will say this, I think not just the reincarnation threat, but also the fact that, spoiler alert, Kendra's gonna start to remember more of her past lives with Carter. So in many ways, Ray is competing with a dead man. So we're doing a love triangle where one corner of that triangle is dead. There's not a lot of shows that can do this.
I love
He needs to make better choices.
If you get picked over for a dead guy, and only on the CW could you get picked over for a dead guy and still look like Brandon Routh.
That's science fiction.
Yeah. And I love Sarah in the horror movie episode. She was I love her security. I love how much she's very assured of herself. And the whole idea of her, like, I'm helping free this woman with the potential of seducing her. I'm like, this girl knows what's up. Talk to me about playing this character who is not defined by any of these labels.
That episode is actually one of my favorites, and I love, we went to the 50s and they did not shy away from talking about some of the issues that existed there. I mean, like with interracial marriage, and then you had Franz's character, like dealing with those jocks, and so it's like racism, sexism, everything there. And I remember like reading some of the stuff with the nurse, and I was like, I feel kind of predatory. Like, I'm like, what are you feeling, Lindsay? Like, I was like, I don't know, but it was really fun to play, and fun to explore. And Mark and I had talked about it, and it was always a big thing for both of us to make sure that she has like a good kind of girl relationship, get the lesbian relationship going. So we know that that's such an important part for Sarah and who she is. So I'm glad that we got to explore it, and to explore it in the 1950s when it's so like taboo back then is cool.
And Friends, I feel like that episode was also huge for you because it kind of gave us that look at this young kid, who he wants to get a girlfriend. We'd been building up the whole idea of him with crushing on Kendra, but it was like we saw his heart.
We got to kind of see Jack's kind of finesse his game a little bit, and show that he isn't that hopeless with the ladies. He can pull it out of the bag every once in a while. But I really enjoyed that episode. That was a lot of fun to portray and to kind of explore, being a young black guy in that time period. And we didn't want to go too heavy with it, but we definitely made sure we gave it a lot, and it was good to kind of do that.
Why at the end does she go with the other guy? Like the boyfriend comes back and she's like, and you're like, I got you a car.
Jack just can't catch a break. It's like, damn, sure, I got you a car and everything, and you still don't leave me high and dry.
That's kind of messed up.
So Friends, how's it been? What was the bigger challenge for you? Filling, shoes that were kind of, left by Robbie and Mel, or actually holding your own against Victor Garber?
It was definitely daunting, kind of stepping into the role. And you know, Robbie is fantastic, and I loved his Firestorm. Yeah, it was just cool for me to kind of portray a different Firestorm dynamic. You know, like Jax is more similar to the comic book Ronnie Raymond in a lot of ways. You know, he's this jock, and him and Stein really don't get along at first. And yeah, it's been really nice, the whole dynamic with me and Victor. I absolutely love working with Victor. He's my favorite. We literally just spend like most of the days taking the piss out of each other. And he doesn't understand 95% of what I say. I use a lot of London slang, so he's always just like, Franz, can you please speak English? I don't know what you're talking about. It's cool. That's my bit to go over. Thank you.
And how do you feel Jax has evolved since he stepped onto the Wave Rider?
I feel that throughout the season, we kind of see Jax grow and mature. You know, he starts off very naive, I feel, and he views the world in really black and white. And as we progress, he kind of understands that there are morally grey areas, and I feel him and the rest of the team, they're forced to ask themselves a lot of the time, do the ends justify the means? Are we doing this for the right reason? There's a lot of moral questions that they face, and it's really nice playing that and seeing how they deal with those kind of issues.
Program with DC Comics of like, okay, we want these guys, but later on we're going to want these guys, and we'll give you this.
You know, we just have ongoing conversations with DC. It's not really about bargaining, it's really about communication in terms of what are their plans, what are our plans. You know, hey, this character is locked up, you know, on this project. How about using this character? That literally just happened. Jeff Johns and I were on the phone last week. We're working something like that out for one of the shows, like I said, one. So it's it's just a dialogue. They've got a lot of balls in the air and a lot of plate spinning and a lot of different characters that they've got to manage across a whole ton of comic book, TV, and film projects. So it's great just to be able to have that ongoing discussion, that ongoing dialogue. And yeah, we're always pretty honest about our wish list and our future plans. And we're very, very lucky. We've gotten a chance to do things, I think, that Greg Berlanti, Andrew Kreisberg, and I never even dreamed possible. So we're incredibly fortunate.
And these guys, it feels like the show we talked to, for the actors, it does feel like we've gotten to a point where this team works together. When they were first brought together, it was very disparate. It was very contentious for some of them. But now these guys have really started to pull together. And then, of course, you leave us with a cliffhanger where having them left alone, and then one of them's frozen. How has it been for you guys taking that ride from a bunch of strangers stuck on a spaceship to a team?
I think that the big part of it is just learning from each other, understanding our differences, and feeling out how we can really be a team and learn from each other. From Ray's perspective, I think he judged a couple of the teammates early on, which he's come now to understand that they have added great value, and that it's really just kind of the more you understand the person's background, the more you can understand where they're coming from, why they make the decisions they make, and that they're not terrible people really. They've just the decisions of life have led them to the place where they are now, and doesn't mean you can't work with them and come to a better understanding of who that person is. And I think all the team is doing that by and large throughout the season.
And were you consciously writing scenes for these guys, like, okay, we haven't had these guys together yet, we should,
sometimes. I mean, sometimes we'll start off in the writer's room on a new episode and going, okay, what dynamic haven't we played with? What dynamic do we want to revisit? Sometimes it's like you can't fit in a certain dynamic. Like we were talking in the finale about doing a scene between Sarah and Jax. It just didn't work out because of a variety of different things. We were like, oh, we've gone a whole season. They really haven't had a scene together.
You didn't want to.
You know, that's true. But you guys, I feel like, yeah. I mean, it's funny. I think of you guys as like, oh, having interacted on Arrow, but you never.
We never met each other on Arrow.
Yeah.
She helped save me.
Yeah.
But we didn't. But I never actually met her. Ray never met her on Arrow.
You never even said thank you.
Yeah, he still hasn't said thank you.
And you don't want to piss off Sarah.
Thank you.
But that's the, you know, to me that's part of the embarrassment of riches of the show is that we have all these incredible actors playing these fun, exciting characters, and we, you know, even one season down, we still have not exhausted all the different combinations that we can do.
Yeah, and it seems I keep wanting to ask, when we talked about this backstage, where people were like, tell us what's going to happen with this spoiler scene. But where Friends is, you know, screaming at the window, Ray, you know, I'm like...
Oh, he's actually saying Gray.
Gray.
Yes, he's saying that to Victor Garber.
Pet name for Stein.
Okay. And then, all right, let's talk about the stories and the eras that you visited so far. For the cast, what has been your favorite so far?
Wild West.
Is that because you got to be the sheriff?
That helped. But just kind of showing up and putting on the Western gear and my trench coat, duster, and my hat was pretty fun. And it was like miserable shooting alone, so in the rain, in the mud, days on end. But it still was a lot of fun, actually.
We got to ride horses.
And we rode some horses.
Yeah, that was fun. The horses were fun. It's always fun working with horses and trying to get them to do what you want them to do, and they have a mind of their own. It's like, guys, can you not just stay? No, it was a lot of fun. It was hard because it was fun, for sure. What was cool?
Katie?
I feel like I just belong in the 70s, so...
If you guys have seen the photos from advanced episodes of the two of you sitting and seemingly having a very lovely, you know, picnic, you know, luncheon together.
This is paparazzi. We just decided to have a picnic.
That was just about to
Day off.
What can you tease us about what we could expect from that situation?
Well, I think it's a complicated situation for sure, as we've already discussed with, you know, the dead guy triangle that we've got going on.
Very powerful.
You know, I think it's also going to be interesting to see what this 2-year time gap is going to do for them, because that's how long they get stuck. So that's plenty of time to either come close together or tear far apart. So
Come back together, maybe.
or maybe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that I did want to talk about also is, and it's something that I haven't heard a lot of talk about, but it's such a cool part of it, is this dynamic between Sarah and Rick. There seems to be, I feel like, it's definitely it's not a shipping thing. It's more of like, this girl could take over. Like, she could become the captain. And eventually, I feel like we're going to have to see some kind of moment between these two where they hash out this dynamic.
Girl power.
I don't know. I think Sarah has an issue with authority. And I even like when they would, in the writing, like if it was ever Sarah calling him captain, I'm like, nope. Like, I think I have an issue with authority, maybe. And so Sarah does too. And kind of playing that, like, oh, like, you know, like if Rip tells Sarah what to do, it's like, so I think it's hard for her to, and Sarah's pretty capable, you know, so like, and Rip's messing up a lot, he lies a lot, so I don't know, we'll see what happens with that.
Okay. All right, but I'm seeing raised eyebrows down at the end of the table, so I'm thinking something about it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny, you're right, not in a relationship kind of way, but ever since episode 3, where Sarah and Rip, you know, basically had their story together, one of the surprises was, whoa, Arthur and Katie are phenomenal together. And there is, you know, there's definitely some interesting stuff coming up with them. You get to do something in 15 that you can, why don't you tell people?
Well, really?
Yeah.
Well, Sarah might sit in certain captions chair at some point and may possibly be flying a time ship.
Nice. Nice.
So Rip Hunter better watch out, because Captain Canary's coming in.
And did you realize, was there any kind of chemistry read for Franz and Victor? Because these two click so well together.
Yeah, we had a chemistry read, which was really cool. We literally got on like a house on fire from the moment that we met. So yeah.
They're so cute off screen too, like on set. Like they're my favorite. Like they're so sweet and like just total opposites. But like, and it just to see like Victor, like he cares so much. You guys care so much about each other. It's really cute.
Yeah, man, Victor's my homie. The OG.
Let's talk a bit about the production stuff because you've got this incredible set, but you have a giant cast. How crowded does it get when you're filming those scenes? Because you not only have your team, but you also have your crew filming everything.
Well, you know, the Wave Rider at the bridge is pretty big actually. It's well designed and allows the characters to be on dollies and moving and while we're doing scenes. There's enough room around the table for all of us to listen to Gideon or look at whatever's up on the screen and not feel claustrophobic as well. Plenty of room for things to blow and sparks to go off and CO2 explosions to go off behind us. So we fit a lot of action in that particular space. It's great to have the ship be almost all complete. The inside, obviously the outside looks not like the ship, but the inside, it's really cool. We live in such a fantastical world to have that much be real is a real treat, I think, for all of us.
How did you guys get to pick your seating arrangements?
It changes depending on how we feel about each other, the characters, not personally. Where each director needs us to be for a particular shot. Sometimes we do long one-er shots that have to kind of keep everybody in the shot, so it's easier the whole choreography to camera sometimes to tell the story as well.
Though I did choose the captain chair.
Yeah. So when you're filming these giant scenes with the whole cast, who is the one you're like, they're gonna break? This is the scene where they're gonna crack up.
We don't have. He means like laugh while somebody else is doing line. We don't have too much problem with that. A lot, I think, largely it's because we don't have time to have. I mean, it's not like we don't want to have fun, but we don't have time to just like, oh, I'm gonna make friends laugh on this take just by doing something silly. We don't have the luxury to do that right now.
But I think anytime that the captain's chair moves, I struggle. I really do struggle to keep it together.
The chair looks really cool. Like when you watch it on the show, and there's like great music, and it's like, like bam. But like in real life, it goes. We gotta fix that for season 2, actually.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing too.
Hunter.
I have to put a high chair, like a booster seat too, because or else it's like way too small. So we need some upgrades on that chair.
There'll be some adjustments. Season 2, that's what we always do.
Because right now it sounds like one of those things like the seats that go up the stairs.
That's exactly what it is. I think that might actually be like the same rig. I might have used that.
All right, so which character would you want to play for one episode, aside from yourself, your own character?
Captain Paul.
White Canary. I think I'd rock that outfit still. Crazy.
I would want to be Vandal Savage. Just so I can like grin and do bad things.
I might want to be Heatwave. Because he's,
So funny.
he is so funny in his own way, and just that sarcastic aspect.
Dom doesn't know he's so funny. Like
He's beginning to know.
he's hilarious. Like, I think he's so
He's awesome.
funny. And I'm like, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you really don't know you're funny, you're lying.
Would there ever be a chance, have you guys talked about writing episodes where these guys get mixed up as to who their alter ego is?
Freaky Friday.
No, but what? Now I gotta give you like a story by credit if we do that. How this works.
I got some because imagine Greg Palmer as like some like insult hurling supervillain bitchy dude.
Don't forget the easy ones, Mark. Don't forget the easy ones.
What do you think about that?
Like Batman.
I will say, like, you know, like you'll see, like, so this is a real upcoming episode. You know, when Katie plays her younger self, it's like a completely different character. So I mean, everyone on the cast is actually, you know, they've got that game. You know, they can go to those other places and be a different person. So that could be a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. For the actors, what is the best part of playing a superhero?
The costumes. I love dressing up in the costumes. The first time I put mine on, I think I ran around for like 10 minutes. In fact, one of the first times that I put it on and was shot in the suit, they called cut. And we're like, okay, Franz, you realize you don't need to go. We're gonna do that in post. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely part of it. I mean, that's the unique thing you don't get with any other role, the ability to kind of just be and feel really cool. And unique, like, you know, I more and more I'm working on just recognizing how cool it is that, aside from my stunt doubles every once in a while, I'm the only one that really gets to put that suit on and play this character, and it's really unique and pretty special.
Ladies?
I think it's been really interesting seeing how playing a superheroine has been affecting, you know, the comic book fans. It's been really amazing to see the outpouring of love from the female fans and how excited they are to see another superhero girl. Yeah. I think that's been one of the most fascinating things about it, and also one of the coolest things. I was just at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in Chicago, and there are two little girls who were decked out, had like movable wings and everything, and it's just so fun to see that little girls have something to look up to, and that gets to be me is like so awe-inspiring and awesome. Yeah.
Katie?
Those costumes are on point.
They were crazy good.
I like, just like, you feel so cool. Like, I like the feeling of like looking around and just like, I could, you know, take any one of you. Like, not in real life, like I couldn't in real life.
In real life, I feel like
In
I'd
real
take
life.
us.
Everyone thinks I'm like way tougher than I really am.
You kind of are though.
She will kick you in your
Kind of beat
face.
me up on set.
Maybe we say that now that someone's gonna try to come fight me at a bar. And then I'm just gonna get arrested and like, but no, it's just like you feel cool. Like you have stunt people where, you know, like you fake punch them and they like fly across the room and you're like, yes.
And Sierra, did you, when you first saw the wings, were you just like, oh, thank God they're badass and not like...
Oh, I was
3D
never
ones?
worried. I was never worried because I don't think I watched the Smallville thing with Hawkman, and I know people had talked about like, oh, we don't like that or something, and I was like, well, I never thought, so I don't know. So I was not worried that they were going to be bad at all, especially knowing that like Flash and Arrow look so good. So I was like, but seeing them for the first time, it was just like a commercial on TV, which first of all, seeing your face on TV on a commercial is pretty cool in and of itself, but then seeing you jumping off a building and wings coming out, which I'd never gotten to see, was just like, whoa. It was a really, really cool thing.
How long does it take to get into that thing?
We got it down now. I get into, there's a two-part underpiece suit that I get into my trailer, and then I walk the set and I get into the actual armored part of it. So it's, I mean, if we were going to do it fast, we'd probably do 15 minutes, but more relaxed, it's more like 15 to
But you're saying that there is a time during production where you're just walking around Vancouver in a two-piece under.
Yeah.
Vacation time.
I used to have a jacket on.
It's time for us to book a trip, kids.
Okay, so
The suit's pretty revealing even without that, so you're not missing much.
you guys had Mr. Stephen Amell on your show, and some of you had worked with him on his show. But how was it having him as the guest star?
We told him what to do.
Like, get us coffee, Stephen Amell. We actually, when we shot, especially when we were on the Arrow set, it still felt like...
He hasn't been to like our hood really.
Yeah, he was on the spaceship. But, because we were on the Arrow set, which was weird too, like when we went and shot that, because that was the actual Arrow set, and they just messed everything up and like, you know, put all the tarps and like cobwebs and smashed the glass, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so sad seeing it like that. But it was... Go ahead.
Well, the way we achieved that look was we had the Arrow wrap party the day before. And we just
Perfect. But it was so fun working with him, like, and seeing Steven as like an old man. He's like such a cute old man, like just like, get off my lawn. That is so gonna be him at 65.
And the greatest is that even like 30 years old, he was clearly still doing his push-ups. Like, he just got grayer, but he's still jacked.
Was there a discussion about a belly for him? Because I feel like he was very fit 65 and he should have had a fake like fat belly.
we did talk about it.
Did Stephen X-nay that? He was like, oh my
I just
god.
think that no one would buy the idea that Oliver Queen would ever lose those abs.
Or just doesn't want to believe that. Like, keep that fantasy alive.
Basically, the concession we made was his 8-pack is now a 6-pack. That's what it is.
All right, so when the show started, we talked a lot about how this was an anthology series. That this was, you know, in the same way that there is a comic book mini series of 12 episodes or 12 issues or whatever. Now that you're getting close to the end, can you talk about what kind of next chapter we should be looking for?
I think it's a little early for us to talk about the next chapter. I will say that at the end of this season, you will get a very definitive end to this chapter. You'll get, you know, an answer to whether or not the team succeeds in their mission to stop Vandal Savage. You'll get a answer to the question of the resolution of the, you know, Ray, Kendra, Carter love triangle. You'll get to know more about what the Time Masters are up to. You know, I don't think there are too many unanswered questions at the end of this season. Right? Am I lying?
No, I think you're right.
And obviously, you don't want to spoil anything, but do we need to worry about a shakeup on the team?
Well,
Yeah, do we?
I know. I want to make a question. Well, let me talk to you guys. Some of you guys after this panel. Okay. I'm totally kidding. You know, I think. Look, we have a couple of empty chairs on the wave rider. You know, right now we got Carter's and Rory. So we've already sort of gone through some of our shakeups there. So as long as there's an empty seat, and now there are two, anything's possible.
Okay. We are going to go to audience questions, and I think that you guys are already lined up over here. Oh my God, Colin's in the front row.
Oh. You the best.
Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Dominic. I'm a Vancouver local. Sorry about the rain and the paparazzis and the autographers. Hopefully, when you guys are shooting on set, I'll be able to say hi and, you know, we're not strangers. My question is for the cast. We know that Rip is totally feeling urgent about saving the future, and with no disrespect, I know that the team is having fun and they're kind of just like cruising along on the ride. Just wondering how your characters internally are kind of accepting or feeling that motivation of saving the future, aside from kind of the typical heroics becoming a legend, knowing that you really said you guys are almost like throwaway, matterless in time. And then, so very second question was, is the Firestorm ability to transmutate objects is it embargo?
Is it embargo?
I definitely feel that we will be, you know, Jax and Stein will be exploring handling their powers a bit more. Yeah.
The first part of your question, I think that, you know, as discussed in this episode 2, pilot episode 2, when when Canary talks to Ray and kind of says, you know, Rip says this about our future, but we get to decide kind of what we want to do. And even if he says that we're worthless losers and we're not legends like he led us to believe, we don't actually believe that. We're going out to try to make our mark and to make a difference in the world for each other's, you know, separate motivations, but to do that. So we all understand he has ulterior motives, but we all are, you know, confident in our own ways that we're going to make a difference no matter what he says.
I feel like for Hawk Girl, it's just so much more personal and not really about making a mark or changing the future. It's about changing her cycle, like stopping that cycle and killing Savage. It's so, for her, I think it's just a very pinpoint purpose. It's not so much of who is she and what is she doing and whatever. She's just like, I have this one thing that I have to do and I've got to figure out how to do it, so.
Yeah, I think like Rip and Kendra, this is a very personal fight too with Vandal Savage. I mean, this is very personal. I know for Sarah, I think it's a little less, it's like, okay, yeah, let's save the world, but like you were saying, like you're traveling through time and she's like, oh, let's have fun. And I think kind of doesn't quite feel that desperation, like, oh my God, we got to do this now. But I think that's also coming from Rip and Kendra. It's like, okay, I'll help you get this mission. Just because for them, like, Vandal Savage is so personal with what he's done.
Hello guys, so my question to you is, with the established characters, heroes and villains like Vixen, Constantine, and the Rogues and stuff, what individually your character, like which character would you like to see personally come to the show? Like either main cast or possibly main villain?
I'd love to see some more girls. I'd love it if Vixen could be on or something. I think that'd be amazing, so yeah.
I thought she was awesome on there, and that was a really fun episode. And I like that idea, the magical aspect. So, I mean, so Vixen and Constantine are both, you know, I think good examples of that. And he already has kind of his existence in the world. The fact that this helps Sarah with her bloodlust is crucial as well. But, you know, I think it'd be awesome if Killer Frost came back. It was on our show too. A rogue woman character.
Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, I think I want some I feel like we need some Speedy, some Thea, like come on. I still owe her for killing me all those years ago. And I like Iris West. I want her to come because I like Candace. So I want her to come.
Do that. Okay.
I definitely agree with you. We definitely need some more women on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, Megalyn EK on Friday at the Damien panel said, when I asked her if there was any chance we'd see her back in the Arrowverse, her face lit up and just said anything's possible. So, I'm just putting it out there.
Megalyn is welcome on any of the shows anytime she wants.
All right? Okay.
Hi, my name is Arsha. I am an actor in training, so I would like to know how do you guys get into the characters, the amazing characters that you
I think first you look at the writing, obviously, and see what's on the page, what the producers have talked to us about, what the character, each individual character, you know, they'd like to see. And then from what I do is I find the pieces of me that are like that character, if they exist, and explore that, and try to bring as much of those parts of Brandon to it. Because for me, that's what makes it as real as possible. And that's what my intention in every scene is to be as truthful as possible and grounded as possible. And so the more I can bring in Brandon, the more I can kind of help blend the two together without it feeling like it's just branching up on screen.
I like the getting into the physical part, like just how does she walk, how does she hold her shoulders, and then from there that builds a lot. Just like you start walking around like that, and you're like, yeah, and then like this is how I talk. It's a good way to kind of get into it.
I feel like my process is different with every project that I work on. This time around, I actually have been journaling as my character. It just kind of came to me, I think, because there are so many lives for me to keep track of that it's kind of fun to think, oh, okay, I have this one memory about da-da-da-da-da this lifetime, and I remember this and whatever. It just helps to kind of keep that stuff in check and down for myself, so.
France?
Yeah, pretty much.
Will ever get to travel into the future to see the Justice League, or at least a sneak peek of the Justice League?
That would be pretty cool if we did.
They are going to go into the future. I think you're going to see the Justice League in the movies before you see them on TV. We sort of consider these guys our Justice League. Thank you. But you never know. But there is some cool stuff coming in the future. Robot Adam. Check it out.
Great question. And there's, even though you might not be able to get to the league, there are regions out there. There are societies.
I think of us as a gang.
And the thing is, a lot of, there's a fair few of us, our characters, who are actually leaguers, they are in the league, so.
That's all right.
You guys checked out the pink pages on the finale, right?
Check my phone.
Oh, speaking of, okay, so you told us that we will have these resolutions, but how should we prepare for the finale?
I always suggest a lot of red wine. I see no reason in the world why people shouldn't prepare for the finale the way I helped write and produce the finale. I don't know. I did a seatbelt. It's a roller coaster.
I feel like everyone should have viewing parties.
Yes.
Make that a thing, and then come up with a hashtag, and everyone has to throw a party.
I like that idea.
A cosplay party.
Yes. That's a good idea.
That's actually really fun. Maybe I'll go to somebody's house and watch it with them. That'd
Well,
be
you
fun.
guys have your marching orders now, so the show will be back March 31st?
March 31st.
March 31st with the resolution of our cliffhanger, and then we get into all sorts of craziness. So I want to thank our panel. You guys were awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.